Christian billionaires fund push to kill the pro-LGBT Equality Act. In February 2021, the Equality Act bill passed the House of Representatives with a bipartisan majority, and the Biden administration has promised to sign the final bill. If passed through the U.S. Senate, it would ban discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, gender identity in employment, housing, public accommodation, education, federally funded programs, credit, and jury service. However, the bill is falling victim to a scheme that has been described as a sophisticated dark money operation. A review of tax filings by allied nonprofits and some accidental public disclosures reveal that the National Christian Foundation, or NCF, the sixth largest charity in America, lies at the center of the operation. The NCF has taken millions in from wealthy people and their organizations on the Christian right and has used its wide influential web to lead an attack to block the Equality Act.
Why are they so afraid? Like, why is all this effort? Like, why do you think it is, Suze? Or Rivka?
I think it's because religious people are knowing they're losing ground in terms of relevance. So they're trying to come up with things that are different about the world now that some people might not understand versus how they grew up or how they were taught about how things are supposed to be. And they're just latching on to those as like weird scare tactics to somehow remain relevant. But what's interesting about this, it's not exactly your question, but this particular fund, it's not like a normal political advocacy fund. They act more like donor advised funds, like with the stocks and stuff, so that you put your money in and then the donor can allocate where they want the money to go. They're not supposed to be determinative for tax purposes, but they often are. So the donor advised fund, when a donor, they can't necessarily make the decision, but they suggest it. And when they sell it to people, that's what they do. Like, you know, give us your money. So, and if you want it to go to, you know, crushing the gays, then okay. Or if you want it to, you know, so, it's interesting how they're doing this because they're not really coming right out and saying what their charity does. But then on the sly, when they talk to these billionaires, oh, well, you know, you don't like this, well, give us the money and we'll work on that. So it's kind of interesting just about how, and they're also profits. So like they said 63,000 nonprofit receiving grants since the 80s.
So how do they manage to keep their 501c status?
Endowed with a broad network of over 13, well, because they're religious, probably. They're a charity. $13 billion. They've granted funds to Christian ministries and colleges, not NGOs like World Vision, Heritage. They donate to the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank. Alliance Defending Freedom. Also, both of those groups tend to be anti-LGBT. And the foundations have really, you know, sort of amorphous names like Jesus Foundation, Christian Heritage, something. So, you know, because there's probably people that might be donating to this without even knowing what's happening or where their money's going.
Do you think this will have any impact? Like, we know that everything is moving in favor of LGBT people really, really fast. I wonder if this is going to just be like a man just standing with his hand in front of a giant train, thinking that it's going to be able to stop it, and the train is just going to run him over. Or would it have any like
well
measure, any noticeable impact. But go on.
These things have had impact before, but type of things on different bills. But being that the House of Representatives was bipartisan, it's possible that the Senate, could be too. But the Senate is often where bills like this go to die. So sometimes it takes several attempts to get it through the Senate. And then the other thing is sometimes people vote against things like this, not because they necessarily agree or disagree, but they got to own the other side. And we've got a serious problem with that right now in the United States government. So I'm hoping that people will see that, it would be beneficial to both the Democrats and the Republicans to pass a bill like this that's inclusive, because both of them can use that as talking points about, their party and, their inclusiveness. But it's hard to say, especially because religious people get so, upset for whatever crazy reason about some of these things. And that has a big influence on a lot of senators.
Suze.
I mean, in terms of like what kind of impact it would have, like this is an act or a version of some type of civil protection like this has been in the works since the 1970s. Like, do we want to wait another 50 years? Like, no, we don't. Like, it's unexcusable, I think, either way. Like,
it will definitely have an impact against that Texas guy, because if this passes, then the court can't fine for him.
True. It's just so frustrating because some people might say like, oh, well, yeah, you gaining these rights are inevitable. But for a lot of people, like, we can't wait that long.
It's not, power never concedes anything, right? Freely. Like, so people say all the time, women got the vote. No one gave it to them. They fought for it. Black people got the, the freedom or Civil Rights Act. No, people went out and hit the pavement and fought tooth and nail for these things. So the idea that somehow it's just going to happen, I think it's good to be positive and to see the direction of a lot of things in the country. For example, the Oberfeld, a lot of people never thought that would happen in their lifetimes. So, but at the same time, you can't underestimate the impact that massive amounts of money have in terms of trying to sway either politicians or a constituency.
Yeah, I think it was interesting because this also occurred while there were several other reveals of major corporations donating to generally anti-LGBT politicians. So this includes like Walmart and Amazon. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what they were accused of, who they were accused of donating to. But AT&T, for example, donated to Mitch McConnell's 2020 campaign while he was actively blocking the Equality Act. And so a lot of people were talking about how many corporations play both sides. It's not exclusive to these Christian billionaires. It could be, so-called secular organizations that actually participate in pride parades. Like, I go to San Francisco Pride. Google has, actually, I don't know if they donate anything, but I know Amazon has a float or, part of the march. Same thing with AT&T. Like, you see these massive corporations participate in pride marches. They have it all over their marketing, their icons for the month on social media and all this stuff, but they're trying to play it both ways by still paying into the pocket, so to speak, of politicians that heavily oppose these sort of progressive policies that they, want to present that they support, because it's about like keeping a hand in the back pocket of whoever might have power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of just like cynical marketing of like, it's good marketing to be in favor and publicly market that you're in support of Pride and all that stuff. I think I like that is something that makes people money, but I don't, because that means that that's a very popular opinion, right? But I don't like that it's just two-faced. It can be so two-faced.
And I don't think that is in actuality anything new with either large corporations, oligarchs, people in power, whomever. They often do make sure they have a hand on either side of the fence, particularly because they may not care one way or the other about the LGBT issue or the whatever environment or whatever issue, but they want to be able to have some influence on these politicians or on the, consensus when it affects them personally, whether it's taxes or trade or, regulation. So you see that it's not necessarily that they actually have even an opinion. Their opinion is about them and their corporation and what's the best way to make sure that they've got someone to do them a favor on either side.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.